guys, welcome to this video. Jerry here, and today I want to talk about something that really is important. I really feel like some of you are gonna get hopefully a breakthrough from this video. And I want to make it because I really want to make clear not only what are the options you have in this challenge, but also what's really important to get results, right? Because you came into the kickoff call, a lot of people came into the kickoff call. In fact, there was at least like 10 to 15 people there. So imagine that, like we had, I think, between the two invitation I put up, 40 people supposed to come, and we had about 15 coming. So that's tells you already that in reality, you know what to do, but you don't do it. You don't do it for whatever reason. And that's you. If that's you, then uh, it's really why I said in the kickoff call, if chances are 95% of people in general are not going to get results, not only in fitness, that happens in several aspects in life, because you know what to do, you just don't end up doing it. And every single time you have a very good reason not to. And I'm not saying this sarcastically, I'm saying like there is actually is. But if that's the case, then you're going to understand my logic, right? Because here we had the kickoff call plus two videos that you're supposed to do some work with. Day one, you can find it, and if you don't find it, just comment day one, and I'm gonna tag you. Comment day two, and I'm gonna tag you, which is basically the day one talks about how to get your measurements and make sure that you starting the challenge correctly, that you know what is your start weight, your start measurement, so that in 10 to 15 days you can take them again and see improvement. And day two, it's about nutrition, okay? It's about nutritional protocol, how to make this flexible way of intermittent fasting easy for you, how to make it your own. And today I'm talking instead about why should you get coaching to help you that, yeah? Because of course, as you know, as I said in the kickoff call, I'm always here, my way of coaching is always try to give you as much value as I can, if I have time, if I mean my schedule. But of course, some of you are gonna need help unless you're getting results already, and this is usually what it is. Unless you know how to lose weight and keep it off, then usually something is missing. You don't really know what to do. Yeah. But again, today I'm here to say that instead, most people know what to do because, like I said, in the coaching call, on the kickoff call, you all came asking for information about intermittent fasting. I just put out a post. I have an intermittent fasting guide. There was like 40 people applying it. I sent to all of them, and I always say a follow-up message. What are your questions? What did you do inside the guide? What do you have? What do you want to ask me? And most of them, they haven't even opened it. Most of them, they're gonna do it later. And again, like this is actually the mentality. This is why I said come to the kickoff call, because we're gonna have some important questions. Why do you want to change? Why the change is important. Today I want to talk about instead why some of you or most of you, would want to get coaching through the challenge. Okay, we have this option which is VIP, which is $97 for the month. And basically, it's the easiest way to work together into understanding what really hold you back in life. Why can you not do the things you know you're supposed to do? Okay. And basically, much like my clients has access to me, this way of working together is really giving you access to, it's just a different way of access, but we're answering the same question, rather than have one-to-one calls or group calls, depending on when you work with me, you're gonna have basically messenger access, and he has to answer this, because a lot of people ask me, why should I join that? Like, what's gonna really do? Well, not only is gonna give you, because the one thing you're looking for, which is the information, but it's really gonna answer the most important question. Diet fail every single time, not because you don't know what to do. You know that you're supposed to have macros. You know that you're supposed to slash calorie. You know that you're supposed to go to walk. You know that you're supposed to go to work out. But something comes up every single time that you don't do those things. And follow me if I may. It's basically like you're not able to reset like your setbacks, which is basically the mistakes you do or your mess ups, right? You need to be able to reset this mess up right away, and most people can't do that. You know what to do, but you don't do it. You know you're not supposed to be eating those cookies, but you eat them anyway. You say something to yourself and you eat them, and then you feel guilty, and then you say to yourself another story. I'm gonna start on Monday. And therefore the setbacks of today, which is Wednesday, it carries over to the weekend. It says, okay, now the weekend is coming, I have to go out anyway. So as you see, you're not able to reset the week, you're not able to reset the setback. The mistake you're doing, you feel guilty about it, you're not able to reset. Everybody has this. It might be that you have people that carry over cookies to your job. It might be your significant other that make different decisions than you, and therefore it's not a good environment. It might be that they were forever this excuse about COVID. You know, COVID, now I cannot go to work, so I'm gonna get fat. It might be the opposite. Some people are said when they were in control in COVID lost weight, and then now that they have to run over kids, you know, they're gonna, I mean, there is always something. It might be that you are good during the week, and then in the weekend you're not able to, you indulge yourself. And there is always these setbacks, there is always these patterns, and you must really do three things. This is why coaching exists, and this is why applying the diet is difficult. Not intermittent fasting or any diet, but it's like, you know that you're supposed to not eat, let's say you're not eating dinner, right? But then you go to dinner, and then you eat at dinner anyway. Yeah. So you are basically like understanding that these things are happening, but you feel like you're not in control. And so I think we're gonna use the example, and this carry over with everything. I'm going through a very difficult time myself with a relationship, and this carries over everything in life as well, because when you have a relationship, I'm going to use this as an example. You have a relationship that two in a month, 2 weeks out of a month is perfect. Let's say 1 week is perfect, right? Then there is a big fight in the week after. Then you take another 3-4 days to reestablish the balance, and maybe 3 days to understand what's going on, and then another week is going to go well, and then it's a cycle, and then you're pushing and pulling, and then you end up half of the time that you are, you know, together you're good, and half of the time that you're not together you're not good. If that happens over and over, like it happened in my last few months, it's crazy because you don't understand what the setback is, you don't understand what the pattern is, let's say the trigger. You're not recognizing what to do with the trigger, and you don't learn anything from the trigger. Instead, it needs to be, this is why coaching exists. We'll use the example of the cookies, right? If you eat the cookies, the problems isn't the cookies. Most people think the problems are the cookies. The problem isn't the cookie. The problem is that you're eating those mindlessly, and you tell yourself a story about it. And instead of like taking 10 seconds, 1 minute, 1 hour, or even one day, you take days to reset the setback. So you have to learn how to reset the setback before, because I said it all the time. This is why I got successfully into online coaching, because when I was a personal trainer, I could give maybe 60, 70% of the results. Now we give about 90%. Why? Because we understood that we need people to shift their behavior in order for them to change. The change is not behind the diet, it's behind you going to run, to walk, to working out, to eat well, to eat more protein, drinking more water, getting it clean, not binging, not drinking too much alcohol. All these rocks needs to be in place. And unfortunately, life comes by all the time. The dogs die, the problem happen with the car, you get fired from the job, like I said, the partner is not supportive. There is always these things, and if you don't understand what the pattern is, what the trigger is, and reset, cope with that thing, then it's going to be very hard, because this is going to carry over in days and in weeks sometimes, and that's going to not allow you to that's not going to allow you to basically be sustainable and consistent with the results. So this is what we do in coaching, whether it's a one-to-one call, we just said with a very good client of mine, an hour call, whether you need to talk for that long to figure out what's going on, what holds you back, or whether you need a message. Very specific, by the way. This is the key, because I have a lot of people sending me messages. Hey, I couldn't stick to the macro. Why? Hey, I just couldn't stick to the macro. You don't. When you tell me this, it's very hard for me to coach you because we don't understand what the issue is. But if you tell me I couldn't stay in the macros because I had these cookies, and then I couldn't manage to, I get cravings the whole time. I get cravings, and that was 3 days. And I learned that every time I live by, if let go myself for the cookies, I'm gonna get cravings, and then I'm gonna binge. Well, then I need to ask more question in this case. What is your calorie intake? Did you go very aggressive on your cut? Yeah, I was skipping breakfast, whatever. So we know that the problem might be skipping breakfast. The problem might be that you didn't eat enough. So we need to correct the physiology first, right? Different than if that was the same kind of scenario, somebody's eating enough calories and you have a very psychological trigger towards, let's say, donuts, because donuts, when you see them on the TV, you want to eat donuts, and then the donuts was something that you were traumatized from childhood because your mom always want to make you eat donuts. Like there is a lot of, like every time that the work is different, but the reset of the trigger needs to be in place. So how does that work? I'm gonna give you the framework anyway, and you do, and I want you to comment when this is happening, exactly what happens. And again, if that's happening very often that you cannot control it, like I said, that's why it's important to have, access to me, VIP. And I'm telling you, this is as low as you will ever see it in this challenge, because I wanted to make it accessible for everybody, and I really hope the gift is given, because again, it's hardly because you don't know what to do. It's usually because you know what to do, but you cannot manage to do it for a valid reason. In your opinion, a valid reason. And again, I'm not saying that it's not. I'm just saying like everybody has the valid reason, but we had some technical issue. So you're gonna see part two now, and of course, whenever you come, like you watch, you're gonna have to see part two. Like I said, you all have valid reason not to do the work. Sometimes it's again is as simple as not really be able to resist to cravings. The other time is as simple as not having a supportive environment around you, or because you said I have very hard job day at work, I need this drink, whatever. But you need to do this thing. And again, one more time, I'm giving you this so that you can apply it, and then feel free to comment or you make your own post. You need to be able to reset your setback as soon as possible, ideally in the same day or in the same hours, which is this, right? Like I said, I made an example about a relationship. When a relationship is good, then you have arguments like every relationship, but a very good thing is that you find out the argument in about an hour. Maybe you took another hour to discuss about it, and then the same day you fix the argument. Those dramatic relationships that always like drains you are the one that maybe you're good for a week, but then it takes a huge fight for a day, and then it takes like 3 days to figure out what happened, and then it takes another week to be good, and then you're good for another week, and then this cycle repeats, and you never learn. You never learn what triggered this problem. You never understand what the root cause is, and you never learn anything from the behavior of the person, right? And usually it takes two people. It's not just one person, because one person might be the behavior that is wrong, the other person might be that they accept this behavior, which is two mistakes. It's not one person, usually it's both. Inside your own reality, when it comes to health, is the same thing. You know that you have a bad relationship with food. You need to understand what get you to eat that donut, right? You need to understand you ate the donut for that specific thing. Okay, I couldn't resist. It's just mindless. It was just here. I just ate it. Or somebody carry over at the work and I couldn't say no, right? So basically you need to understand what the thing is. And I'm going to use the example of the work. When somebody carry over at work, or when somebody carry over from your house, they bring it over, let's say from work, whatever, you're not gonna you're either gonna throw it away, you're gonna hide it, or you're gonna basically remove yourself from the environment. They bring it at work, you cannot leave. You cannot not eat it, and you say, hey, I'm gonna take my break right now. I'm gonna go for a walk. In that time, when you come back, the donuts are not gonna be there anymore. So you understand the problem, you do something to fix the problem. And again, it doesn't have to be like, the goal is not eating the donut. The goal is to stretch the conversation between you eating it like you usually you do and not eat it at some point, or eating it with a longer conversation. And then you want to be learning something about it. You want to learn that I have this issue every single time I have donuts around me. Okay. Next week, we're gonna do a commitment mini challenge, which is gonna be probably around walking or something of that nature. But in between now and next week, I want you to apply this framework every single time that something doesn't go your way. You're supposed to do the post, and I see it already. There is a bunch of people, I can already imagine it. There is a bunch of people saying, oh, I'm gonna wait the other people to post before to see what I have to do. I have hardly seen anybody posting their pictures. I don't know why. But if you're thinking about always, I'm gonna wait the first one first, you're not really gonna go very far. That's a psychological, self-sabotaging behavior. And you wanna understand those things, and you wanna understand what stops you. You wanna understand what the problem is. You're gonna shift the problem, you're gonna find a solution, and then you're gonna learn something about it. This is why you need coaching. And the truth is that if you cannot do this on your own, because you can't do it, you don't have the capability, it's like you don't have the experience to do it, you don't have the know-how how to do it, then in fact you would need help. It doesn't have to be me, but you need help, because this is what stops you from losing the weight and keeping it off. It's not the diet, it's not the missing information, it's doing the work, and it's about optimizing on the work that is done and understand what stops you. Hopefully this video was helpful. I'm going to attach the VIP pink slip like the other one. Don't feel obligated. I'm just saying, like, if you really want to achieve that goal, it's going to be much easier. And also, I hope this is now clear of what's really coaching is about. It's not about, sure, I'm going to give you your macro, sure, I'm going to tell you if you prefer to track or not, sure, I'm going to tell you what you're supposed to be eating to the detail that you want. But realistically, even if I get it to you, if you don't do this work, you're not going to achieve results, because there is always going to be something. Life is always going to happen. If you don't tackle life on the right way, then it's going to be hard. Hopefully this helps, and I'll talk to you soon.